East Germany is very difficult that way. The members there have been members for a very long time. In fact, there's a city called Görlitz, which is really close to Cottbus, and their president Monson gave the promise to the German people, the East German people, that they would get a temple and that they would have the same temple rights that their Western brothers had. And so they've been very strong members for generations. And they will do everything they can to stand up for the truth of the gospel. They really do. They're very strong. They're very stubborn. They're very, I adore them. And however, because of war and some of the difficulties they've gone through, especially in East Germany, they're very cautious. And especially when it comes to talking about religion, because there were some heavy penalties when they were the Eastern Bloc that would go on them if they really openly talked about religion. So when it comes to missionary work, if we, the missionaries, find people, they are more than willing to help us teach. And they are more than willing to come out and do everything they can to support those people. But they expect the missionaries to do it that way. They're wonderful when it comes to when you find someone and they're really interested, they will do everything in their power to help. So the wall fell in 89, right? I think that's right. Yes, 89. Which isn't that long ago. Because I was born in 1990 and I'm 25, and they just celebrated the 25th anniversary of the wall falling. And when the wall was up, in Eastern Germany especially, they had the Stasi, which was the East German secret police. And people would disappear in the middle of the night if they said anything against the government, if they said anything that was be considered anti-communist. And the people were very, very cautious and very, very scared. And 25 years is not a long time ago. And so a lot of the members still remember those times. And they're still very cautious. So, even going door to door, sometimes people would look out their windows to see who it was. Because if it was the Stasi, you were in trouble. And even though the Stasi are long gone, it's still very much a fear. And they also, and this is all of Germany, are very strong believers in personal freedom. Especially after everything that's happened to them between East Germany, between World War II. They believe that everyone should have the right to, as long as you're not actively hurting anyone, you should have the right to make your own decisions and to do what you want. So the idea of kind of forcing this religion onto someone else, that's how they view it. And it's something that they struggle with, and it's something that they have a hard time with. Especially Germans are also very, very private people. So you have to not only respect their privacy, you have to respect their rights. And you have to understand where they're coming from as missionaries. And they will open up so much more to you if you understand that. And if you're willing to talk to them about it and get to know them. When Germans become members, they become members for life. And they are so strong in the gospel. I mean, we've seen it in church history. We've seen it just in general. They're just stalwart. So the demographics teaching in Germany, there was very different ways you needed to teach each group, for sure. Younger students are way more open. Younger people in general are much more open. And that's just because they haven't grown up with the fear and the danger and the worry that the older generations have. And they're much more open to learning about people outside of Germany and learning other cultures and kind of experimenting that way. And I mean, a lot of it comes from internet and the television and being able to communicate overall that a lot of the older Germans don't have the opportunity to. So talking to them in any way about something new is very exciting. And that doesn't matter what culture you're from. You can be German, you can be Chinese, you can be Turkish. It's very exciting to learn something new. And I think that's true about college students all over the world right now, and about younger people. It's just, you just want to learn. With older people, at least in my experience, they're very sad. They've lived through a lot. They've experienced a lot. They've lost a lot. And teaching them about the idea of eternity, and that they will get to see these loved ones again, and that they will get to, that everything will be okay at the end, is something that's very, very powerful. And it's something that means a lot to them. And even if they fight it and say that they don't believe it, there's always that part of them that does. And sometimes even just telling them as a comfort is the best thing you can do as a missionary. Is just letting them know that their life will not always be war and sorrow. Teaching people of other religions that never have any introduction, it's really interesting to see the connections they make, particularly with Hinduism and Buddhism. We got a lot of questions about reincarnation. And we laid out the plan of salvation, and we actually had one investigator who turned it into a circle. And is like, why isn't this continuous? And we had to go into that, and it was really fun. But being able to talk about the fact that, like, we were spirits before, that we have a plan, that we came for a reason, that resonates with most religions. And particularly the idea that we're here for a reason. I taught a lot of Middle Eastern people, which can be very dangerous. You have to be very careful with that, because not only can you put yourself in danger, you can put them in danger. Listen to your mission president that way. Our mission president, we were only allowed to teach 2 lessons unless they actually lived in Germany. And then we could teach them more than that. But I know that other missions in Germany, you weren't allowed to teach them at all. Well, a lot of them are there on visas. And so if they convert, they can have the chance of getting sent back to their country and killed. Or having to get into a big fight with both governments to prove that, hey, I have converted to Christianity. If I go back, they will kill me. I need somewhere safe to stay. And so we were warned to kind of be careful and to not put them in that situation, and not put the governments in the situation where they had to figure out what to do with that. So it was very much at your own discretion, but please be careful. I think it's important in any situation, teaching as a missionary, to understand where people are coming from and what they're going through and where they're going, and help them prepare that way. Teaching people from China, with the communist regime in China, religion is very, very limited and very, very watched. And so you had to be careful teaching students or teaching people that were only here temporarily, because you didn't want to get them in ridiculous amounts of trouble. And I mean, I taught a Chinese man who was so ready for baptism, 100%, and we did wind up, he did get baptized. But it took a lot of prayer on our part and a lot of fasting to decide if it would be best for him or not. And I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive to the gospel. You know, it's like you want to baptize everyone, and you want everyone to become members and to have this plan of salvation, but it can be very, very difficult if their lives are on the line. And he was willing to make that choice, and we were able to help him that way.